someone the platform is associated with. He's one of the directors of Radio Aotearoa, and of course we're simulcasting with Radio Aotearoa on their network across the North Island and on Freeview. And George thought he'd ring in and put his 5 cents worth in. George, mate, how are you?
Yes, good, thank you, Sean. How are you?
Good. Nice to have you on.
It's good to be here. Look, I have been listening this morning and probably over the last few weeks around this Hīkoi. Now, obviously, I have my view in terms of the Hīkoi and in terms of it being a hoha Hīkoi. Hoha, of course, is annoying.
Yep.
And so, therefore, I've been calling it the hoha Hīkoi for the last few weeks. And one of the things that we had trouble asking, and we had reporters, obviously, on the Hīkoi itself, but they asked what people were actually doing, why they were actually on the Hīkoi. Not one could really give me, or give us a response that was actually accordance to what the Treaty Principles Bill was all about. And I think that, you know, if you have a look at what happened last week with regards to Hana doing the haka and obviously waving and ripping up the document that he had in Parliament, you know, if that was actually done on a marae and David came onto the marae and did exactly what she did, my gosh, he would have been eaten for lunch. He would have been the hakari. And so when you actually are in a position of responsibility like that and you're in Parliament, you've got to play by the rules. And I was disappointed that Jerry Brownlee obviously didn't give all of them the talking to, the whacking, and just the expelling longer than 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean, Shannon Halbert took part, Penny Henare took part. And the thing was,
exactly,
the Māori Party had a speaking slot, they just didn't give it to Hana.
Exactly. And the thing is, you see, that's, if you look at it from Parliament's point of view, that was Parliament's marae. And so the respect that they did not give to that process was disappointing, and they should all have been made responsible for it. Now, let's actually talk about the treaty bill itself. I think the issue is exactly what's being said. There is a lot of doubt around what they're really standing up for. Now, I've sort of had a quick look at it, and, you know, they've got there that the government has full authority to govern under democratic rule. That was one point that was actually in it. All citizens are equal before the law. That's the other matter. And property rights are protected. Now, those are the three probably challenging things for what David Seymour actually put in to his bill. But it was really to actually have discussion about it. I think one of the things that people have found is that there are pros and cons with regards to this bill. One is that it is not clarity. So this is actually a pro. There's no clarity around what the Treaty Principles Bill is actually going to mean for both Māori and non-Māori. And I think that
it's going to mean the same thing for everyone, George.
Look, Sean, whilst we think that is what we want, for Māori, if you have a look at the data, the stats of what has occurred over the 180 years, unfortunately, we've been always on the back foot. We're the most probably, in terms of education, the system does not
all
actually,
those trends are moving in the right direction, George, you know that.
But they are, but the thing is, unless we actually focus on how we fix it better, then that needs to always be something that we've got to focus on as a government. And I think that, you know, if you look at the treaty, Sean, the way to get past this is to educate ourselves a bit more on why it was signed. Now, I wasn't there 180 odd years ago. However, there was going to be certainly a change. And look, we're actually what they probably thought would happen if no treaty was signed or wasn't signed. And so I'm pleased that they signed the treaty. They signed it on my behalf 18 generations ago. But unfortunately, they also signed it on those non-Māori who are likely going to move to New Zealand. And so whilst, you know, you and others have said that they didn't sign it on my behalf, they did. But what we need...
No, they didn't, George. I'm not the Crown. I never was. My ancestors never were. I'm a subject.
You're not the Crown. Yeah, that's right. You're not the Crown, but there were only two cultures in this country at that time.
No, there weren't. There were way more than that. There were the French. There were all the other people. You chose, Māori chose their coloniser.
That's right. We did choose that. But the thing is, Sean, I think what we need to actually do is have the discussion, put it to this bill, and everyone's now been given the opportunity. The fear is it might be dominated by one culture.
Yeah. Look, George, the other thing is you are Māori, George, no matter how we define that. You're part of Radio Aotearoa. And what you're telling me is that hoo-ha Hīkoi today doesn't represent you, because a lot of people, and I think a lot of Pākehā look and say, that's all Māori. What we're going to see on our television news tonight, promoted by Radio New Zealand and Television New Zealand and stuff in the Herald, that's all Māori. And actually the truth of New Zealand is a lot more diverse and nuanced than that, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I'm not on the Hīkoi, and neither are probably hundreds of friends and whānau of mine, because they're hōhā with it. They're annoyed with the fact that this is actually taken out of, well, it's a political stand for one or two political parties that want to actually rev up Māori so that they get more votes come the next election. Well, that's not going to
I don't think I'll be honest, I don't think that's David Seymour's intention, George. I think he's trying to make progress.
But I think these lefties are going to, I mean, look, Sean, I used to actually be part of the Māori Party. I was the chair of Peter Sharples when he was actually the Minister of Māori Affairs. And, you know, he was never, ever into this type of thing. Neither was Tariana.
Yeah.
And I think that they used the system to advance and advocate on behalf of those that they represented. It's not like that today. Mm. It is the most radical political party that I've ever seen happen over the last 100-odd years that Māori have actually represented the Māori in Parliament.
Wow. Hey, George, I thank you, mate, for ringing in and giving your perspective. And I really have tried on the platform to say we do need to have the discussions. It's why I got Buddy on today. That's why I had Ian Taylor. And I wish I could get someone from the Māori Party to come on and talk about it too. But thank you for taking part in the discussion. It's the only way it works.
Ka pai. Thanks, Sean.
Cheers, brother. George Ngatai, he's the chief executive of Radio Aotearoa. Of course, we have a relationship with on the platform. Good call, George. Thanks for your balanced perspective. There aren't two sides to every argument. There are multiple sides, and we need to try and get to them all.